Why put yourself through that aggravation? Um, so it's easy to blame, and I've talked before about. I think one of the things that happened was the Led Zeppelin machine geared up, and Robert Plant went, "Oh, I'm out of here. This is not happening for me." Um, and this is evidence of that. This is evidence of when the machine gears up, it gets stupid. And Plant's a guy who does like the back of the bus kind of traveling, um, and he may very well have seen what was coming and said, "Oh, forget this." So when you're dealing with Satan, okay, it's not always fun. Anyway, I've been away for a little while. I was on holidays actually, and so it's been about 5 weeks since the last one. I hope you've all had a good summer, and a fair bit's happening there. But I'm feeling chatty. So, did you know? I just realized something went very wrong a little while ago. I've been doing this on YouTube, or I'm recording this for YouTube as well as a video, and I had a little mic problem there. It seems to be screwing up my mic, maybe. I'm going to have to really, really look into what's going on here. But I shut off the YouTube to correct the mic, or I shut off the video recording, and it's created a whole new video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, it probably started from about 3 minutes in. Sorry about that. It's an issue I will straighten out eventually. But anyway, so I was in England. I was away. I went to England and Ireland, and while I was in England, I met with Dave Lewis. Lovely fellow, charming. Yeah, he loves to talk Zeppelin, loves to talk music, loves to have a couple of beers, and it was about 85 degrees, and London's not a air-conditioned city. It was lovely to sit in a coolish pub and have a couple of beers with Dave. And he got a few things going here. Now, like I say, I'm recording this for you. If you want to watch this on YouTube, I'm going to try this. I'm trying an experiment to do the podcast on YouTube as well as regular podcasts. So if you want to see this part, I'm going to show this stuff. I'll post it. And then we'll so I'm talking about stuff, I'll be showing it to the camera. So that's basically what's happening. Hey, look, we're backwards on the camera, by the way. Ooh. Oh well. So one of the things I got to cover, not the book, but a cover for Dave Lewis's newest book, which is actually his old book. Actually, I think that's the Over Europe cover. It's an Over Europe cover. So didn't even notice that, I was thinking it was the new cover. I did have a look at some sheets of the new book, style sheets or whatever they would be, and it's looking like a good one. It is the Nebworth book redone, extra pages. Got some basically promo sheets here, some of those. But I got two things that are important, and thanks to Dave Lewis for this. I got 2 copies of Tight But Loose, the magazine. This is issue 33 and issue 30. Yeah, I can't read that. I think it says 35. This is the Robert Plant cover, the rare Robert Plant cover, 118 of. And it comes with the Kazar Stadium picture. So I have one of those. And here's the pictures, the magazine, and the picture. One of those to give to somebody who has never read Tight But Loose before. If you are, always kind of thought, geez, people talk about this, I wonder if it's worth it. But then, it's whatever, £6, £7 a magazine, plus shipping. It starts to get pricey in a hurry. And you think, and I don't really want to subscribe for a year if I don't know if I'm going to like the magazine. I'd like to try out the magazine. I'd like to look at the magazine. I have 2. I have this one, which is the last edition, has interview with Aubrey Powell, has that 1968 photo shoot, and with the boys sitting on the Jaguar, and and where it took place. And Dave and I actually went around to where it took place, got our pictures taken there, took each other's pictures and what. If you've seen his Facebook page, you'll see those pictures. I will post. I haven't gotten around to sorting out my pictures very much. Anyway, so I got one of those ones. The first person who asks for it. But, no, let's do it this way. Let's give it a week, and then I'm just gonna. And there's two of them, right? And then there's this one, which was the big 40,000 word jobby. It's like a book. This is the one that does all the Celebration Day stuff. It's a tough read because the print's really small, and looking at the two side by side, it's gonna be 4 or 5 points on the font difference. But that's just because there was so much. So I got two of them. Send me if you're interested. If you've never read Type It Loose, and we're working on the honor system, obviously, folks. If you just want a free magazine, I guess I have no way of checking it. I'm not about to try. But I'd like to give them to somebody who's never read Type It Loose. They got a chance to read it. Maybe they would subscribe afterwards. If you think that might be you, send me an email. I will pick 2 people at the end of 2 weeks. And you know what? It's likely to be 2 of you. That's likely what I usually get in these things. Just a couple anyway. So we'll go with that. And we'll get that out to somebody. But anyway, yeah, had a lovely time in London. Did a few sites. Did the Gerrard Street, where they did the first show, or where they did the first rehearsal, or was it there was another street right next to Gerrard Street? Maybe that's where it was. Dave knew them both. Plus, like I say, we went around where they did this photo shoot, and we got pictures of us holding the picture. You know, we're holding the picture. And, it's all good stuff. We had a good time. And it was lovely to meet Dave. Dave, if you're listening, really enjoyed meeting you. And I had a great time in England. If you ever get a chance to go to England, folks, if you've never been, just do it. It's fabulous. Okay, like I mentioned, I'm videoing this. This is going to be on. I'm going to post it on YouTube. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try a couple of things. Actually, seen a Kiss podcast that they posted on YouTube. It was 3 guys talking, but they posted as well as, having the audio track on iTunes, and they were talking too about review the podcast on iTunes, and that draws attention to it with their computer. So I'm going to ask you to do the same. If you go to iTunes, write a review. Give me 3, 4, 5 stars. Write a review. And if people do that, it may draw attention from the Apple, get it into the it improves the search results and that sort of thing. Like if you type Led Zeppelin podcast or Led Zeppelin into the podcast thing, this one doesn't even come up, and it is, as I know, the only one that I know of that's a regular all the time Led Zeppelin. So reviews, putting 4 or 5 stars in. That's a way to improve searchability, and it's possible you could also get one of the iTunes podcasts of the day or whatever they do, featured podcasts. But you need those reviews to get looked at for that sort of thing. So I'm going to ask you to do that if you're in the mood. Obviously, do what you want to do. But I'm putting it on. We're going to see how this works. Putting it on YouTube. See what kind of numbers I get on that. It might be that there's just not that many people who listen to podcasts, but there's a lot of people who watch YouTube. I don't know. So I'm going to give it a try. We'll see how it works. Okay. I don't know if you've seen this. There was a BuzzFeed article a couple of weeks ago now. 29 reasons Jimmy Page is the most badass person alive. And it had stuff like wearing the jacket suit. And I forget what most of them are, and I'm actually not going to look it up right now. But if you get a chance, look at it. Just Google that. Just Google it. 29 reasons Jimmy Page is the most badass person alive. It'll come to the article. And the big problem with that article was that it had a picture, and it was one per page. So you had to click, 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 and wait for it to click, wait for it to click. Instead of just putting 10 of them on a page or something. So that's why I'm not going to go through and I didn't, when I was writing this out, I didn't go through them. So, okay, Robert Plant's had a big couple of weeks. Big couple of weeks. He launched his big social media presence last week. He's now on Twitter. He's on Instagram. He's on Google Plus as well as YouTube, and of course his website. And his website got a complete revamp, completely redone. So he's excuse me. He's obviously going for the big promo, the big push, He's moving into that territory of so his Twitter page, his Twitter account, by the way, is at Robert Plant. His Instagram is Robert Plant Official. At Robert Plant on Twitter. If it's got the RP initials at the end, it's actually Robert tweeted, apparently. Otherwise, it's his people or something like that. And this week, or last Thursday, he answered 10 questions on Twitter by people who follow him. And you ask by using the hashtag AskRP. If you don't know what a hashtag is, if you don't do Twitter, I know I'm speaking in gibberish to you. But it basically is a little number sign and then a word behind it, and it could be anything, and it files. It's like a file system. So ask RP, and here's the 10 questions and answers that he chose. What is your favorite venue to have played and why? Answer: Fillmore West, San Francisco. Why? A legendary home of most amazing psychedelic bands from the West Coast. Number 2, what was your favorite moment or memory of your career? Answer: the release of my first record in 1966. Number 3, do you have any favorite modern bands? Answer: Hammer of Maxwell, Low, and Black Angels. 4, what is your most favorite Led Zeppelin song to perform on your solo tour? Answer: what is and what should never be. By the way, go to his Twitter account. He gave away, for the next week or something like that, he posted a link, and he's giving away a version from his recent tour of what is and what should never be. Really hot version of the song, too. Really good sounding. So, I'm going to, if I remember, I'll post the link to the thing. It's only up for about a week, I think it is. So it would have to be in the next couple of days. I'll try and do that. I'll try and remember to do that. Question 5. Ever hear a song and think, damn, I wish I'd written that? Answer: Hey Joe. 6. Ultimately, what are the things that are driving you forward? Answer: unexpected adventures musically, emotionally, and geographically. 7. If you didn't join Led Zeppelin, what everyday job would you be doing instead? Nicely asked, by the way. Nice throwing in everyday job, because then, you can't say, no, I ought to have been a musician of some kind. Answer: marriage counselor. I think maybe he's being facetious there. Just a guess, but I'm thinking maybe that was tongue-in-cheek. 8. What is the last album you listened to completely? Answer: Phosphorescence Muchacho. So the band is called Phosphorescent, the album called Muchacho, I think. 9. Best piece of advice for young songwriters. And I love this answer. Keep mixing it up, change key regularly, try different guitar tunings. And number 10, of all the concerts you performed, which concert was the most memorable for you? Answer: Festival in the Desert near Timbuktu, Mali. One of the reasons, speaking of Mali, he's doing this online presence. This fall, he is releasing a 10-part documentary on his trip to Mali. And it's going to be released online, I believe, through his website or on YouTube. I'm not sure exactly, but it's something along those lines. But it's coming out. And I heard word one of the albums is an album's coming out this fall. And we know he recorded too, but I don't know. There was no follow-up on it. It's just something I saw almost in passing. So I don't know if we can expect an album from him in the fall. Maybe it was even this documentary is what we can expect. So Plant finished his last tour. Last time we talked, I was talking about early Plant songs. We wish he'd do a few more, and I mentioned a couple, including Big Log. And towards the end of the tour, he did Big Log 4 times. So he added it to the set mid-July. He added it to the set. And I would say in the last 6 or 7 shows, he did 4 of those. Nice version, sounded good, and it was really nice to see him dig in and do one of those older songs, you know. And I was in Newcastle, and I woke up and I had a text, or I had a tweet for me. So there I am on holiday, lying in bed, listening to a clip of him doing Big Log. So there you go. You can't get away from it, no matter what you try. You cannot get away from it. Robert is also participating in a book project. This sounds great. It sounds like fun, actually. And Sammy Hagar revealed this project. It's called Shades of Elvis. It's a book of pictures of significant people, famous people, different celebrities wearing Elvis's sunglasses. Actual sunglasses that were previously owned by Elvis. And they're all getting their picture taken with these sunglasses. So you're talking about Steven Tyler, Willie Nelson, Sammy Elliott, John Depp, Elton John, Peter Fonda, Tony Hawk, Sammy Hagar, obviously, and Robert Plant. The project is by Priscilla Presley and a photographer called, I got Anna Rose here, I think it is, Aneruos. I believe it's Christopher Anaros is the guy's name. And he is, I wonder if I wrote this down twice, because I thought I wrote his name properly. There you go, I did. I wrote it twice. Christopher Anaris. And he, if you go to his, well, I'll tell you what, if you go to rambleonradio.com, I did a post on it, including a link to some pictures of Robert Plant in the sunglasses. So you can see those. They're there. It's Guinness tonight, by the way, folks. The drink is Guinness. That's what you're hearing. Because some days you just need a beer instead of other stuff. John Paul Jones, he stepped out this Friday, put down the quill. Well, you have to use a quill when you're writing opera, don't you? So yes, he put the quill down, played with Super Silent last Friday in Oslo. He's an eclectic fellow, isn't he? You have to love that. I was listening part this week, by the way, the new Queens of the Stone Age album came out in June. And it's, when I heard 3 or 4 songs that I heard, pretty good. Sounded pretty good. Just said, kind of as an aside, John Paul Jones aside, being as Josh Homme was with him in Men Crooked Vultures. There's a movement afoot to create a statue in Redditch, John Bonham's hometown, of John Bonham. A couple of people are, I wrote this nicely, endeavoring to raise funds for a statue for John Bonham. To be erected in his hometown of Redditch. John Bonham Memorial Fund has a Facebook page, and they are selling the Mick Bonham book, The Powerhouse Pine Led Zeppelin, John Bonham. I was looking at it on my phone tonight, and I couldn't order it. I couldn't figure out how to order it. I don't know if it's available yet. I don't know if I thought I saw somewhere that they're actually starting the fundraising campaign in September. They're talking about it now. They're promoting it, never to do so. Maybe it's not available yet. Maybe it's just impossible to do on the phone, and you have to go on the computer. I will do that in the next day or two. It's a book I want to get. It's a book I've been looking for. Like when I go to England this time, I go to bookstores, that's a book I'm looking for. And did not succeed. So, and I think it was only £12. It's probably another 10 to mail it, but it is a book I wanted, so I will definitely, and the money will be going towards the statue. So I will definitely be getting one of those. And you'll also be able to just donate. And we're talking about there was another crowdfunding project relating to Led Zeppelin that met its goal last week, and we're going to talk about that further down the line. Anyway, so that's a statue to John Bonham in his hometown. Being cited as one of the great musicians of all time, and he's from the town. They think the statue should go up. And to these guys' credit, instead of running to their local government and say, spend money on this, that they are saying, let's raise the money. And so I'll let you know how. I'll keep an eye on that. I actually messaged the guys who run the Facebook page tonight. I haven't heard back from them yet. Not surprising, considering they're in England. And I messaged them about 7 or 8 o'clock, which makes it midnight. It's now 5, 6 in the morning. So, probably by the time I get up tomorrow morning, I've got a reply from them. But nothing yet. So I'm hoping to find out how to get that book, and I will let you, as soon as I have good answers from them, I will let you know. I will also try and get somebody to come on, talk to me. We'll do an interview, throw it on at least I'll throw it on the next episode or one after that. All right, here's the other one. Here's the other story where I wrote, and I'll tell you exactly what I wrote here. Interview with quote, legendary rock interviews. This is Jason Bonham. I'm talking to people about holograms, and my dream is to do a hologram drum solo with my dad next to me. 3, 2, 1, go. And, oh, no, say it's not so. Oh. Here's how I am on this. When they talked about doing it with Tupac Shakur or Biggie Smalls, and they talked about bringing or Michael Jackson, maybe they'll have the Jacksons with Michael Jackson as a hologram. My feeling on it was, let these guys be dead. It's one thing to have a video clip and maybe do it a little. Everybody knows it's a video, but to try bring them back as to life almost, and act as though they're there live, is creepy, and it's further dishonest because they're not there live. It's still just a video. It's just this better video than the one you were using last time, and that's how I felt when it was Michael Jackson. That's how I felt when it's Tupac Shakur, and that's how I feel with it, John Bonham. Jason's got a bunch of stuff. We're going to go over it, but he was writing with Glenn Hughes this week. Black Country Communion has 3 albums. It looks like Glenn Hughes, Jason Bonham, along with a guy called Andy Watts, who are writing this week. Looks like they're going to do an album of some sort. Do that. Move on. It's time to move on. It's getting, you're 50 years old, and it's getting just a little creepy, maybe. And talk of a hologram is definitely, please don't. Just please don't. It's all I can say. Are you going to pay $60 or $80 to go see a video, basically, of somebody? He's not there live. He's not going to be making the music on the go. It'll be a recording. So no, don't do it, Jason. Just don't. Time to move on. You've been in the studio. I'll tell you this. He's been in the studio with the guys from Jason Bonham's Zeppelin Experience recording some original material. And again, like I say, they're talking about recording another album with Glenn Hughes this fall. They've been writing last week. You got some stuff on the go. Make it happen. Walk away from this doing your dad thing, because it's holding you back, I think. There comes a time to make your own mark in the world. Stop making your dad's mark in the world. That's how I feel about that. So, I told you I was going to go. Speaking of the Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Experience, their tour with Heart, they finished part 1 a week or so ago, 10 days ago, and on Wednesday of this week, it starts up in Texas again, and it'll go till the 31st. It's going to head out west from Texas. It goes west to California and then up the coast to Seattle. On the 31st is the last date. So if you're in the West Coast or in the South, you may have a chance to see them still. I didn't see them when they were near me because I was in England. It seems to be going well. It sounds like it's going well. People seem to be enjoying it. They're a good band. It's a good show, and it'd be nice to see some original material from them. Of course, maybe we'll hear the original material and go, I'll tell you what, go back and play Led Zeppelin. Maybe that's where we'll feel. um, Here's an interesting one. Joe Bonamassa has said he would make another Black Country Communion album in a minute. And I don't know where that came from, because he was talking a while, he'd never do another one a while ago. But what he won't do is tour, and that I think is the big issue. He won't tour with them. Oh, I'll make an album, but I won't tour. Well, thanks for the support, guys. And as I mentioned, Hughes and Bonham, they seem to be moving on without him. They got together this week. There was a lot of tweets and whatnot from Hughes, mostly. According to Bonham, they're planning to do something October, November. Presumably, they're recording. Hughes talked about taking this new project on the road in 2014. And they were joined one day by guitarist/keyboardist Andy Watts. Watts does a lot of stuff, but he's mostly a guitar player these days, it seems. So look for something. There's something coming down that pike as well. And I'll keep a close eye on it and let you know. By the way, speaking of Led Zeppelin experience, you remember last time, or the time before, I talked about Stephen LeBlanc was not going to be doing this tour with him, and he was unhappy about it, and he'd said a few things. Apparently he crossed the line. He's out. He is out. Been replaced in the band. No word on who's replacing him. It may be that it's not set yet, but Stephen LeBlanc will not be returning to Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin experience. He is, however, if you're out in West Coast LA area, he plays with a band called the Moby Dicks. They're Brian Tichy's band. They're the ones who did the Bon Sauvages. They're basically with a backup band for that, and they are doing the Zeppelin tribute shows once in a while as well, without the Bon Sauvage element to it. All right. I already mentioned the Planet Elvis Sunglasses book. There's another book coming down the pike. The guys from Shoko, who did the Led Zeppelin production through the 70s, are producing a behind-the-scenes book. It's called Shoko, 10,000 Nights on the Road, The Untold Story of Shoko. The little company from Texas that invented big stadium rock and roll. That is how they're building themselves. And that might be an interesting book. Lots of behind-the-scenes stories and stuff, I would think. A third book, a Robert Plant biography, A Life by Paul Rees, is going to be released this fall. We may have mentioned this before, but it's going to be released this fall. It's available November 5th here in Canada. And here's a 3-2-1 go moment again. October 22nd in the US, October 24th in the UK, November 5th in Canada. A full 2 weeks behind the US. 2 weeks later. Because they don't think I can get it anywhere else. They don't think it's going to be available on the internet by the time they released it up here in Canada. They think that we're just going to have to sit around and wait, like it's 1972 all over again. We've been through this before. We talked about this with Stephen Davis's book, I think. But really, are you that stupid? If it's ready for release, release it. Because it's going to be on the internet, and people are just going to grab it and put it on their e-readers. No. They have to be the music industry, right? They have to go down that line. They have to fail miserably instead of trying to ride the wave. I'm telling you, people in the book industry must be the dumbest, because it's happened before. It happened in the record industry. And they've seen it happen, and they said, good model. That's what their boys basically have done. And at least the record industry guys have the excuse that we never saw it coming. The book industry guys, no excuse. It was coming, and you played it stupid. Period, end of story. Hey, I'm not in a bad mood tonight, but really I'm not. I'm fine. I seem to be grumping a little here. Seem to be going off a bit. But anyway, that book is available. You can pre-order it now. And if you check Amazon, you can see the cover. Get a shot of the cover. It's there now. You're a True Blood follower. The TV show True Blood had an episode last week called In the Evening, and it featured In the Evening The song, well, the Led Zeppelin song. That's why we're talking about it. It was at the very end of the show. Uh, I don't want to tell you what happened, but it was the dramatic moment, and then the credits roll, and as the dramatic moment's ending / the credits are starting, they break into In the Evening, starting with the violin bow stuff, and the bottom on the timpani, and it was pretty effective. It's the first time I've ever watched the show. Not my cup of tea, but not really brewed to my specifications anyway. I'm not the target audience. All right, review time, and I have a book called, and this is thanks to Jeff Strawman again. This is the other book I got from Jeff Strawman, and it's called Beat: Jorgen Angel Photographer, 1966 to 1983, and I'm putting it for the people on YouTube. There's a copy of the book. It's in Dutch, I believe it is. But it's all pictures. He's a photographer. Jorgen Angel was there at the very first Led Zeppelin concert in the Gladsaxe Team Club in Copenhagen. It's a borough of Copenhagen, I believe, actually. Related to this book is they were looking to get a plaque to put up in at the Gladsaxe, the school where the Gladsaxe Team Club held their dances, commemorating the Led Zeppelin's first ever performance. And they were they were billed as the New Yardbirds at the time. They weren't Led Zeppelin. But they wanted to put a plaque to commemorate the show. It was going to require $29.50 to get a nice plaque, a good brass plaque, to get a kind of a frame or something for it, to get a mason to come in and mount it properly, and to have a nice little ceremony to the little cloth and some snacks for the people who are going to be at the ceremony. So they calculated it was going to require $2,950 US. They got a grant from the Borough of Gladsaxe for $1,200. So they needed to raise $1,750, and they went online to Led Zeppelin. They were looking for not a corporate sponsor. They were looking for fans to contribute. And one of the guys who did so was Jorgen Angel. Now, Jorgen shot Led Zeppelin, that shot as in photographer, that very first night. And I have a picture on my wall. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Call it 25 pictures from that night of the band doing their thing. And they are all taken by him. He just happened to be, and it's, he did it. He was a wannabe photographer. He was a kid, right? He was 17 or something. But his goal was to be a photographer. So he took his camera to these Friday night shows, and he would take pictures. And I'm sure I read in Frank Redden's book, Sonic Boom, did an interview with him, I believe. And I think he talked about he was trying to preserve film. There was two bands. He wanted to do both because film's expensive and developing it's expensive. So, so anyway, but he went on to quite a good career in photography as a band rock photographer. And he's all sorts of them, and he's got he took Led Zeppelin to 73, 71, of course 68, 70. So he has all sorts of shots. And here's, by the way, if you're on YouTube, here's a couple of pictures from that first show. Those are on my poster too. So that's a couple of pictures from that. He's got quite a big section on Led Zeppelin, actually. It was the first big band he filmed, I guess, and he had a couple. He also did do the Yardbirds. But it's an excellent book, just packed with pictures. And on the back, you can see on the back, Sonny and Cher, The Pretty Things, The Yardbirds, Led Zeppelin, 10 Years After, John Mayall, Gary Moore, The Faces, Deep Purple, Jimi Hendrix, Roy Gallagher. That's 3 of 12, 14 lines. I've just gone through. He just loaded with people he shot. And you open a picture and there's a great shot of, you know, of whoever. And I keep getting people I don't know. There's B.B. King, Buddy Miles. But the text is, the downside of this book, the text is in Dutch. So there are times when you know he's saying something interesting. You're looking at the picture and you're thinking, oh, and he's saying something interesting there, but I have no idea what it is because it's in Dutch. Other than that, though, it's an excellent book. I'm really glad. I never even knew about it. And when Jeff was getting rid of the Get the Lead Out book, I decided I'll grab this one too. He had that as well. He was going to let me have it for postage, so we went for it. And I've a couple of times just sat and nosed through it. It's an excellent book. It really is. If you see it somewhere, you know, by all means pick it up. If you're out in Copenhagen and you see it in the store, pick it up. Pick it up. So that's Jürgen Angel, Beat. Photographs 1966 to 1983. And finally, to bring it on home, and for those of you on YouTube right now, I am posting Bring It On Home. You won't be able to hear it, but I'm gonna. It's a little live clip from. Let's see how far I would go with it. I tend to fade it at some point, but right here. Okay, so boom, boom. Okay, so now we're going to fade it down for the folks. Go backwards a touch. And we're going to start anew with Bring It On Home. So if you're watching on YouTube, that's what happened. To Bring It On Home, I read a book a couple of weeks back called The Cello Suites. And Bring It On Home, by the way, the odd, silly, strange little story that I occasionally find. I read a book called The Cello Suites by Eric Siblin. Eric Siblin's a former rock writer for Montreal Gazette and other papers. He's a music critic, etc. I stumbled into a performance in Toronto of the Bach Cello Suites and fell hard for this music. There is 6 cello suites. It's a couple hours worth of music, actually. Most concerts would do 2 or 3 of them. And they come, you get everything from the steel drum bands, guitars, little bands do them, and straight cello, which is how they were, as far as everybody knows, intended. So anyway, Eric, in talking about the cello suites, he made a couple of comments that I thought were interesting here. On the bore in the suite, both are from the 3rd cello suite, by the way, Bach's cello suite number 3. On the bore, he says, well, what about the beautiful spot 20 seconds into this movement that sounds like a riff in the hands of a rock guitarist? It is a bold, churning phrase that would not be out of place on a Gibson Les Paul wielded by, say, Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. And again, on the 3rd suite, he talks about, quote, the positively Zeppelin-esque rock guitar riffs of the gig. And that's gig, G-I-G-U-E, which is a kind of dance. So there you go. You find Led Zeppelin everywhere. Stumbled across them all over the place. And here's another spot. The Cello Suites, the book about the Cello Suites of Bach, discussing. So for the outro, by the way, that's what you're getting. Suite 3 of the Cello Suites. So anyway, I want to remind you, go to iTunes, post a review of Ramble on Radio. All these little things help out to make it better. And that's it for Ramble on Radio, episode 33. I probably be Labor Day weekend the next time I record. Meanwhile, check out rambleonradio.com for notes on this podcast, any Led Zeppelin news, reviews, and any links I might have mentioned. Follow Ramble on Radio on Facebook, Google+, and Ramble on Blog on Twitter. Thank you for listening to Ramble on Radio, and this is Pablo Casals playing the Gig from Bach's Cello Suite No. 3.